Have you ever stood in front of a piece of art and just felt nothing? Or maybe just confused? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to feel something, but I don't get it. Yeah, you are definitely not alone. But what if understanding art wasn't about some secret password? What if it was just about asking a few simple questions? Well, let's dive in and build a little toolkit you can use for pretty much any piece of art you ever see. So, right off the bat, let's tackle the big one. What even is art? It's a huge question, right? It can feel totally overwhelming. Is it a painting? Sure. A building? Okay. A cool-looking chair? To even begin to answer that, we actually have to ask an even more basic question first. Why do we humans make this stuff in the first place? And this right here shows you the problem perfectly. On one side, you have something that feels like pure, raw emotion slapped on a canvas. On the other, you've got beautifully made objects that, you can actually use. So how can one little word, art, cover both of these things? A practical tool and a deep feeling? Well, to figure that out, we have to talk about function. To solve this puzzle, we have to look at the why behind it all. We're going to break down the basic, fundamental reasons that drive people to create things, whether that's a giant mural, a little poem, or a piece of pottery.
Here's the core idea. Art has a job. It has a function. So when we ask what art is for, we're really getting at what art is. Thinking about it this way, that art has a purpose, is honestly the first huge step to making it all feel a little less mysterious.
And it basically boils down to these three things. First, there's the personal function. This is art for the artist. It's like therapy, or getting an idea out of your head, or just the joy of making something. Then you've got the social function. This is art that's meant to speak to a whole group of people. Think about powerful protest posters or a huge national monument. And finally, the physical function. This is where those wooden spoons come back in. It's art that actually does something useful in our day-to-day lives.
Okay, so now we have a way to think about why art gets made. So let's level up. The next big question is, how should we think about what the art is actually doing? And for that, we can get a little help from some of the biggest thinkers in history.
Okay, I love this. We're explaining a massive philosophical idea with cats. Perfect. So this gets at Plato's whole theory of forms. Plato believed that out there, somewhere, there's a perfect, ideal version of everything, like an ideal perfect cat. And all the cats we see in our world are just flawed, imperfect copies of that ideal one. So for Plato, art was just a copy of a copy. It was an imitation that actually took us further away from the real truth.
But then his student, Aristotle, came along and said, hold on a minute. He agreed that art was a kind of imitation, but he saw it as something incredibly powerful. He argued that art isn't just a bad copy, it's a representation. It's a way to show us deeper truths by exploring what could be, not just what already is. It can actually bring us closer to the truth.
So, we've gone from imitation to representation. But what about us, the viewers, our own judgment? Well, this question right here gets to the heart of another philosophical giant, Immanuel Kant. Is there actually a difference between saying you personally like something and declaring that it's beautiful?
Kant's big idea was something he called disinterested judgment. Now, that doesn't mean you're bored by it. It means you have to try and set aside your personal baggage, your tastes, your mood, what you had for lunch, to appreciate the thing for what it is. See, I like it is all about you. But saying it is beautiful is an attempt to say something universal, something that should be true for everyone. It's a big leap.
Whew. Okay, so we have some frameworks now for why we make art and how we can think about it. Now let's just zoom out and appreciate how absolutely massive and diverse the world of art really is. First, a really helpful distinction to make is between an artist and an artisan. An artist, generally speaking, is making something just to be looked at and experienced. The whole point is the expression. An artisan, on the other hand, is a super skilled craftsperson making things that are often functional. Of course, the line between them can get really, really blurry, but it's a good place to start.
All right, let's do a quick tour. First up, architecture. You could say this is the ultimate blend of the physical and the aesthetic. I mean, it's the art we literally live inside every single day. And then you've got sculpture. We're moving into 3 dimensions now. It can be something carved out of a block of marble or something built up from a bunch of different material.
And here we are back at crafts, things like weaving, pottery, beautiful metalwork. These are art forms that are just so deeply tied to tradition, culture, and yep, that idea of usefulness.
And if you want to see just how wide this category can get, how about this? City planning and landscape design.
This is art on an enormous scale, shaping not just one building, but the way entire communities live and move. The scope is just mind-boggling.
Okay, we've covered the why, the how, and the what. Let's wrap this all up into a simple, practical framework that you can take with you the very next time you're standing in front of a piece of art wondering, what am I supposed to do now? Here it is, your 3-step guide. First, just ask, what was its purpose? Was this a personal diary entry for the artist? Was it a social statement for the world? Or was it a physical object meant to be used? Second, think about the big idea. Is it trying to show you the world as it is, or maybe how it could be? Is it about an idea or an emotion? And third, just appreciate the form. Look at the skill, the materials, the choices the creator made. That's it.
And that brings us to our final thought for the day, a real brain twister. After all this talk about art having a function, what if it doesn't? If a work seems to have no personal, social, or physical purpose at all, is it still art? Or is that maybe the purest form of art there is? Now that's a question worth chewing on.